Hey everybody, this is Miss Gregory. I hope you guys have been doing well. As always, I hope you guys have been staying safe during all of this crazy stuff that's happening right now. I wanted to say that we at Wingate Elementary, us teachers, staff, everybody, we miss you guys. We are so ready to see you guys again, even though I know we're not going to be in school the rest of the year. We miss you dearly, and we can't wait to see you whenever that time may come to see you again. I hope you guys have been able to log on to meet with your teachers during their office hours. I hope you guys are able to reach out with your teachers as well for any questions or concerns that you may have. And I hope you guys are also able to access many of your teachers' videos that they have been sharing of themselves teaching new instruction to you guys with the packets that you guys have been given. So, a lot of the teachers have YouTube channels. A lot of the grade levels have YouTube channels. So please feel free to get onto those channels so that you're able to see what your teachers are going over with their packets that they have in front of them and that you have been given. So with that being said, I want to dive into one of the packets or one of the questions in the packet that is labeled April 20th through May 1st. So if you look at the top, it's going to be in a third grade packet. It says April 20th through May 1st. Okay. And the reason why I'm doing it in this one is because many of you may or may not have received the new packets yet. And so I wanted to go ahead and go over a question that most of you guys should have, because most of you should have this last packet that went out. Okay. So question number that I want to go over is question number 6. And if you look on the side, it's called measurement and data. So even though this is in a third grade packet, everybody can access this and use this type of information in a fourth grade packet, a fifth grade packet, and even down to a second grade packet. Okay. Everybody uses measurement and data in school and throughout their lives. So what I want to talk about first is I want to talk about the dynamics of this chart that's in the middle of our screen that's highlighted right here. Okay. So if we look, we see the title of our chart and our graph. And a lot of times we overlook some things that are on here. And so we want to just make sure we pay attention to everything that this chart and this graph is giving us, because this is where all of the information for our questions is going to lie. Okay. So if we look at the title, it says library books checked out. So of course we know that this is going to be the amount of library books that were checked out. Okay. On this side, it's labeled day. And this is obviously going to tell us the days of the week that the library books were checked out. Now, my assumption, and sometimes it's not good to assume, that this is during the school year. This is a school library. The reason I say that is because there's no Saturday and Sunday, and so we can't check out books in the library at school on Saturdays and Sundays because we're not in school. So this would be, I would guess, a school library, and that might not mean or have that much meaning to it, and that's okay. That's just getting me to visualize the question and visualize what I'm going to be trying to figure out. Okay. This is helping me set the stage and activate my background knowledge to help me be the most prepared to solve this type of problem. Okay. So I see the days of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, labeled on this axis. Over here, we have the number of library books checked out. Now, this graph is very generous to us because it doesn't have any hidden messages in here. Oftentimes, there will be graphs that have in parentheses number in thousands, number in 20s, or whatever. So we have to know that these numbers may or may not be specifically 100, 150, 200. But since there's no label over here other than the number of library books that are checked out, we know that this is just 50, 100 books, 150 books, 400 books. Okay. So now the next task is we start at 0 and we're all the way to 400. Now, if you guys know, there's not 400 lines on this side of the chart or this side of the graph. So we have to look in between these two numbers and each of the numbers to figure out what these little dashes in the graph mean. Okay. So if we look, these large lines right here where the numbers are, those are obviously going to be 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, and 400. Okay. So now we need to look and see what do these represent to get me from 0 to 50. So let's see if we can count by fives. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. That doesn't equal 50, so that would not be that those lines represent 1 or 5. If I think about ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Still not. So let's try tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So we know that each of these little small lines right here, and even all the way up here, equal 10. So I have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, and so on all the way up the graph, okay? Now, one thing that you guys are very beneficial, or you guys are lucky, because this graph has shown you a dotted line to which number it is. Now, sometimes this is not going to be the case. We will have times where the lines, these dotted lines, are gone, and you just have to try and trace it all the way back to the side by yourself. One piece of advice I could give you is if you have a piece of paper, or you could use a ruler or something with a straight edge to line it up with this bar, in all of the bars, but I was just using this one as an example. But as I mentioned, this graph is nice, and the people that made this graph are very nice because they provided you with the dotted lines to get to what is labeled the amount of books that were sold or checked out on that day. All right, so now that we have all of that figured out, we can tell based on what type of graph this is, the type of graph. So I want you to really quickly think to yourself what type of graph this is. Is it a line graph? Is it a pie graph? Is it a pie chart? Is it a bar graph, bar model? Something along those lines. I want you to think about what type of graph this is and just say it to yourself, say it to your dog, say it to your cat, say it to anybody in your house, just to get yourself to verbalize that information. All right. So now that we've analyzed our graph and we see what type of information is listed in this graph, we can now move into our questions. So if we look at question 1, it says, how many books in total were checked out on Wednesday and Thursday? So we can look right here, and I don't know if you guys remember from my previous teachings, a strategy called the HOS strategy, HOS. And when I teach that strategy, I teach the kids to visualize what they see is happening in the story, okay, or the question, I'm sorry. What is happening? So when we visualize something happening, we're looking to see what is going on in that question. Are we giving something away? Are we adding to it? Are we sharing things equally with people? I have my students, sometimes I'll even have them close their eyes and I'll read the question to them. Now, if you're doing this by yourself, it might be kind of hard. So what I want you to do is close your eyes. All right, make sure your eyes are closed. And I'm going to read this question out to you guys again. Question number 1 says, how many books in total were checked out on Wednesday and Thursday? All right. So now that you've looked or you visualized this question, that's part of the HOS strategy. What is happening? Okay. So my question's asking me, I need to figure out total books that were checked out. So part number 2 of this HOS strategy is to figure out my operation. And now I also told my kids operation stands for a fancy term that means, do we add, subtract, multiply, or divide? Okay, so now that we've figured out, I got to figure out the total of Wednesday and Thursday. I need to know what operation is. And I know when we are talking about 2 different days and it's asking me for the total of those days, I know that I'm going to have to add this. And then lastly, we solve our problem. Okay, so now let's look at the 2 days that they talked about. They talked about Wednesday and they talked about Thursday. Okay, whoops, sorry guys. So we have Wednesday and we have Thursday. So if I look at Wednesday, this little section right here, I can't highlight the whole thing because it will go crazy. So if I look at Wednesday, I'm going to follow this line all the way across to this mark right there. Now, that is one line or one section above 200. And if we remember what each of these little lines stood for, we said that that represented 10. So if I have 200 and I add 10 to that, there were 210 books checked out on Wednesday. 210 on, let me label this Wednesday. Okay, 210 books on Wednesday. And I apologize if you guys can hear the lawnmower in the background. My neighbors are cutting the grass, but I just love being outside. This just is my little happy place, being outside. All right, so let's look at how many books were checked out on Thursday. Okay, so this is Thursday. Remember, we find our Thursday, and then we track it all the way up to here. So I'm going to do the same exact thing, follow this line all the way to this. Now, again, we said that each of these lines represents 10. Okay, so here's my 300. I know that this is 300, so it's going to be 310. And we're counting by 10, so what would come next? 300 and, say it, 20. Good, 320. So I have 320 books that were checked out on Thursday. Okay, now if we remember what our question 1 said, it said we want to know the total books that were checked out on Wednesday and Thursday. Okay, so we also decided that total means we are going to add our numbers. Okay, so I'm going to add 210 and 320. So really quickly, I want you to try and do that on your own. Set it up however you feel you are most comfortable with, and tell me what you get. Well, you're not going to be able to tell me, but when you have it, pause this video, solve it really quickly, and then when you figured it out, come back to this video. All right, so what you should have is you should have 530 books were checked out both or on Wednesday and Thursday total. Okay, so if you guys look, that's how I solved this question, by using my graph and seeing exactly what numbers lined up with the bars on Wednesday and on Thursday. Okay, all right. So now once you figure that out, we're going to go to question number 2 of this same problem using this same graph. Okay. Now, if we look at number 2, it says how many, okay, I want you to close your eyes first. Sorry. Close your eyes first. I'm going to read this to you. You're not going to do anything, but you're going to just listen. Okay. How many more books were checked out on Thursday and Friday than on Monday and Tuesday? So using our Haas strategy, I'm thinking about what's happening, what would my operation be, and then I'm going to solve it. Okay, so my question again reads, how many more books were checked out on Thursday and Friday than on Monday and Tuesday? All right, so this one seems a little tricky. Okay, so I'm going to try and do this on one problem or one page. The first part I'm going to do on one page, and then the next one you may have to get a separate page. So I'm going to go ahead and separate my page like this, because I know my question's asking me about Thursday and Friday and Monday and Tuesday. So I'm going to have to figure out how many books were on Thursday and Friday, and then how many books were on Monday and Tuesday. So let's start with Thursday and Friday. Now, if you remember from the last question, we already figured out that there were 320 books for Thursday. Okay, so always, always, always label your stuff so that you know what you're doing. So on Thursday, I'm going to label it TH. There were 320 books. Okay, because again, we come to Thursday, go up to this bar, and come all the way across, and that's 300, 310, 320, right there on the axis. Okay. And now I need to figure out how many are on Friday. So I'm going to label this with an F, and I'm going to figure out Friday. So I'm going to find Friday on my chart, which is labeled right here. Oops, sorry guys. And go all the way up to Friday and come across. Okay. And I see 350. Remember, we're counting by 10s. 350, 360, 370, 380, 390. So there were 390 books checked out on Friday. So again, we're looking at Thursday and Friday. So just like question 1, when we think about Thursday and Friday, we need to add those two numbers. So pause the video, add your Thursdays and your Friday, and come back when you have finished the problem, okay? And we'll keep moving. Okay, so on Thursday and Friday, 710 books were checked out, okay? And I got this because 0 plus 0 is 0. 9 plus 2 is 11, so there's my 1, and I carry the other one up here. 3 plus 3 is 6. Whoops. Plus 1 is 7. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing for Monday and Tuesday. I want you guys to pause the video and do the same exact thing for Monday and Tuesday. Find out how many books were on Monday and how many books were checked out on Tuesday, and come back to the video and make sure you label things so that you don't get confused. So pause the video and come right back when you are done. Okay. Now, I will walk through this still in case you are having some troubles with finding out how to still find the answers and find how much each of these bars are worth. Excuse me. So first I'm going to start on Monday. So I'm going to follow this bar to the top and follow the dotted line. And it's already labeled at 250. So I know on Monday I have 250 books that were checked out at the library. Okay. Then I'm going to go to Tuesday. Same strategy. Follow the bar. Here's Tuesday. Follow my bar and come all the way across. Now I know I'm counting by tens again. So there's 300, 310. Okay, so for Tuesday, 310 books were checked out. And just like the previous step, I'm going to add them together. 250 plus 310. So pause the video and solve that, whichever strategy you use to help you solve it. All right. So for Monday and Tuesday, 560 books were checked out. Okay. So I have on Thursday and Friday, 710. Monday and Tuesday, 560. Now, if I look back at my question, I'm not done because I still don't have any. I have two answers for this problem. Right now I have two answers. So I need to figure out one solid answer for this problem. So remember, let's reread the question. How many more books were checked out on Thursday and Friday than on Monday and Tuesday? So take a minute to think to yourself what type of situation this is and what type of problem this is, and think about what it's asking you when it says how many more books or how many more items, how many more whatever was sold on this day than that day. Okay? When you think you have an idea, tell your dog, tell your cat, tell your parents, tell whoever you live with at the house. If you're by yourself, shout it out to yourself. All right. So when it says how many more books are checked out on Thursday and Friday than on Monday and Tuesday, that means I'm going to subtract. Good job, everybody. I'm going to subtract. Okay. Now, I'm going to do this with the picture method and kind of the standard algorithm just so you guys can see and I can show you both ways. Okay. Because everybody has multiple strategies of how to solve problems, and that's totally okay. So I just want to make sure I'm hitting everybody's ways of solving problems and reaching everybody that I can. All right. So when I solve, this is what my page is going to look like. Okay. So I'm going to start by taking 710 and drawing it or building it in my place value chart. So I start in my ones place, and I know that there are 0 ones. So I'm going to leave this one blank. My ones section, I'm going to leave it blank. There's one group of 10 that should go in my tens place. So I'm going to label my one group of 10. Okay. And then lastly, right there, my 7 is in my hundreds place. So I'm going to label 700. Okay. So go ahead and do that. Now, unlike addition, we don't need to draw our second number because we're taking it away from our first number that we drew. Okay. So now when we solve math problems, we always start in our ones place, meaning we always start as far to the right as possible. So if I look, I'm doing 0 minus 0. So if I have nothing here and I don't take away anything, that means 0 minus 0 is 0. Okay. Now, this is where it starts to get tricky. I'm in my tens place, and I only have 1 10, but I have to take away 6. How can I do that? Think to yourself, how am I going to be able to do that? Remember your strategies that you were taught in school before we were out for this break, and try and solve it the best you can. Okay? So I'm going to do something that we call borrowing. I'm going to come over to my hundreds place and say, hey, neighbor, do you have a group of 10 that I can borrow? Because I don't have enough, and I need to get rid of 6 things. So this hundreds is going to say, sure, you can have some. And you're going to cross out your 7 because you're going to take, you're taking a group of 100 away and you're going to add it over here. Now, we're not going to keep it as a group of 100. We're going to decompose it to 10 groups of 10. So I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, do we see that? I took a group of 100 and decomposed it into a group of 10. Okay, so now I need to see how many hundreds I have. I have 6 hundreds. So this 7 is no longer a 7, but a 6. Okay, now I need to come back to my tens and count how many tens I have. I know that this right here is a group of 10, so I can say 10 plus 1 is 11. So this 1 is going to turn into an 11. Okay, now I have enough to take away 6. I have 11 minus 6. So let's go ahead and take that away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I like to just circle my numbers or my pictures so that I know what I'm working with. Okay, so now I'm going to count all of those up and see how many I have. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I know 11 minus 6 is 5. I also apologize if you hear my dog because my dog is whining because he wants to go inside. Okay, now I'm left with my hundreds. Okay, I have 6 minus 5. Now, most of you can solve this in your head, but again, I'm going to walk you through it. So I'm going to take away 5 of my hundreds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm left with 100 left, right? So I know 6 minus 5 is 100. So my answer should be 150. So let's look back at our question and see what it says. It says, how many more books were checked out on Thursday and Friday than on Monday and Tuesday? So again, 710 books were checked out on Thursday and Friday. 560 books were checked out on Monday and Tuesday. We subtracted that and got 150. How we got those two numbers is we added Thursday and Friday, Monday and Tuesday. Okay? All right, guys. I hope you guys have been able to successfully solve this and work through this with me. Again, feel free to reach out to any of your teachers, including myself, if you have any questions or any concerns about this question or anything in the packet. We are more than happy to help you guys. And remember that your teachers in your grade levels also have office hours. And they also have YouTube channels. So be on the lookout for those videos that your teachers are posting, okay? Again, as always, we miss you and we hope you are staying safe, and we cannot wait to see you guys again. Bye, guys. Take care. I gotta figure out how to do that.